What's going on, guys? Kali Dev reporting in for duty. I got an awesome build in store for you guys today. So today we're going to be diving headfirst into a Next.JS app with the help of Tailwindcss. We're basically going to be building an e-commerce site from scratch. Today is day one of a three-part series. Today we're basically going to get our app set up, ready to go, rendered on the screen. Now, to follow along with the build, you guys will need these two extensions, ES7 React snippets, as well as Tailwindcss IntelliSense. You're also definitely going to want to make sure that you have the most recent version of Node installed on your computer. So at this point, we can go ahead and initialize our app. So I'm going to move to a good working directory in my terminal. For me, that's my code folder. And the command to spin up our app is going to be npx create next app -e with -tailwindcss, and then go ahead and just name your application. I'm just going to name mine eCom shop. Alright, so now that our app is done installing, we can go ahead and open it up inside VS Code. So I'm just going to cd to our newly made app and then hit the command code space dot to open up our newly made app inside VS Code. Alright, here's our app ready to go. One of the first things I'm going to do is get it going inside the browser. So in order to do this, if you guys are familiar with working with a React app, the command to do this is npm start. With Next, it's slightly different. It's npm run dev. Alright, so now we have our app running in the browser. One of the first things I'm going to do here is head into my index.tsx file and just clean this up. Alright, so once we've cleaned that up a little bit, we're going to click on a file on our root level, create a new folder called components. This is where our Tailblock components are going to be. So the first component I'm going to make is a header component, so header.tsx. Now, this is where that ES7 React snippets extension is going to come into play here. We're going to hit RFCE, and as you can see, it kind of predicts it for us. So RFCE to create a React functional component. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head on over to Tailblocks. Tailblocks has ready-to-use components. What we're going to do, we're going to find a header component first, and we're just going to plug it into the return div inside our header file. So as you guys can see, Tailblocks.cc, they have a bunch of different components that you can pick from. All you have to do is just copy it to your clipboard, and then you have a ready-to-use component. You could just plug it into your app. Now we will need to convert these to TypeScript. So what we're going to do is basically change all of the classes to class name. To do this easily, go ahead and highlight class, hit Shift Command L. That'll select all of the classes and then just rename it class name. Alright, so now what we need to do is go ahead and add our header into our index file and then import it. This will allow us to render the header on our screen inside the browser. Now, if your component doesn't auto import, go ahead and hit Control Spacebar, and that should import it. Control Spacebar, enter. And there's our header component rendered on the screen. So like I said, these look pretty good just out of the box as is, but we can always go back and customize these out and change what we need to change. All right, so at this point, we're going to add products to our components folder. So we're going to do products.tsx, and once again, we're going to do rfce to create our React functional component. And we basically just repeat the same process. We're going to go and find a component that's going to work for our products. And once again, we're just going to put that in the return div inside our React functional component. So we're going to have to do the same thing that we did to the last component here. We're just going to convert this to TypeScript. We're going to highlight all the classes, change them to class name, as well as adding closing tags to the images. Then we'll just need to add our products component to our index file and import it. So now that we got our site somewhat going, we're basically just going to rinse and repeat the steps that we did to make the first two components for the last two. We're going to create a reviews component as well as a footer. We're just going to rinse and repeat the same process, grabbing the tail block components and plugging them into our app. All right, and just like that, we built a very, very simple website. Now, this is basically a starting point. This isn't really like that involved, but I just wanted to show you guys how easy it is to get set up here, okay? We have React functional components ready to go. We can now go back and customize these out individually. And that's going to do it for day 1 of this video series. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Feel free to stay tuned for day 2 of this video series. You guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. Kali Dev signing out.